Today's video is extra special because I'm taking you on a complete tour of my brand studio and the heart of my brand photography business. I filmed this video back in the summer and I feel it's the perfect way to kick off a new chapter here on the channel. This year, I'm going to be sharing more about my work as a brand photographer, from behind the scenes and more tips to how I help women entrepreneurs build visible, cohesive, standout brands that attract their dream clients. And it's here where all of that happens. So welcome, and let's take a step inside. So this first space that we're standing in, this is my welcome area. This is where clients will come in and put their things. I'll also have them to get their wardrobe all hung up. We'll take their outfits out. There's typically a wardrobe rack just behind me. I'll have that all set. We'll get everything in order. I'll put together a nice flow for their session as well. Everything in here is a prop. So while this may be set up right now as a nice welcoming space, I'll also use different pieces from this space to create set designs for my clients too. So also another thing that might happen in this space, I do host workshops in the studio as well. That's why I have the screen behind me. I also will have different networking events that I've also hosted, and I love those. And then I have special client events for my clients to come to the studio as well. So this space does a lot of heavy lifting here in the studio, and I absolutely love it. All right, the next space that I'll show you is our hair and makeup setup. So in this area is where hair and makeup happens for my clients. After they meet with me, I will get all of on the day of their session, I will get their wardrobe hung, as I mentioned, get a flow for the shoot. I'll also show them their set design. We'll see if there are any changes that they need to make. And then after we're all done, I'll have them come right over for their hair and makeup. Depending on the light, I will bring in this ring light for them and have this set up in this area for them as well. They'll bring in their things and have everything all styled and ready as they need. But my client just hangs out over here. I'll get them some water if they'd like that. Another great thing about this space in particular is having the mirror right here. Very easy. So once my client is all done with hair and makeup, we do a little spin around and they get to check out their hair and makeup and give us the green light. Another thing that I'll mention is that I will put up a pop-up tent to make it easy too for wardrobe changes, since I don't have a bathroom inside of my space. It's actually down the hallway. But I'll set up that tent and my clients can change into each of their outfits and then come over. We'll do a little check. They'll look in the mirror to make sure that everything is all styled nicely. At that time too, I typically will do like a jewelry check to make sure that, see if we need to make a change or not. But our wardrobe consultation really helps so that when they come on the day of their photo shoot, all of their outfits are all set. But that mirror is that one last look to say, oh my gosh, I feel amazing, I look great. And then we head into their photo shoot, which we will go right on over and I will show you one of the set designs. So the set that I'm currently standing in is our cozy living room setup is what I call it. There are various pieces that I can use to style this set. When we were in the welcome area, I was sharing that everything is a prop and I can mix and match things based on my client's needs and what vibe they're also going for. So this is one that I have set up for the tour today. And I love this setup. One of the things too that I love about having the different pieces, they all coordinate well together too. So I'm very thoughtful and intentional when I'm shopping and bringing new things into the studio. And speaking of which, I have different trees, faux trees that they can bring in. I have real plants that we can bring in too. This plant over here is a real plant. But I do have a variety of things. I have different artwork that they can choose from and just so many different things. Another thing that I do encourage them is to bring in their own props as well. So anything that may be special or specifically related to their brand, I'll have them bring those things in too. One of the things that I love about creating and styling set designs for my clients is that I know that it solves a problem for them. I do everything here at the studio, but the problem that it solves for my clients is that they don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, my office isn't clean, or my living room is not what I want to photograph in, right? It's not what I want to take pictures in. But I love styling the studio, creating these different sets for my clients because I do know it's solving a problem, and they're going to have great images that showcase all of who they are through their brand images. Before we leave this area, I also want to say that this is the main corner. This is the main shooting corner in the studio based on the light. This window is east facing, so the light best between like 11 and 1 during the day, but I don't rely completely on natural light. I actually bring in a light. I use a studio light and a nice scrim to create beautiful light for my clients. But this is the primary corner that I do shoot in. So with a client, I will typically, if they have one set, this will be the set it's all set up. But also too, based on the light, I may shift into another area, which I'll show you in a second. This area also serves the purpose of creating headshots for my clients as those are needed. I will move everything out and we'll use this space. Last year was to bring in a style Christmas set. I had a few options for my clients, but we used another part of the studio so that I could keep the tree up. Clients needed their images for marketing through the holidays, and so I used another corner in the studio, the hair and makeup station. I used that area. All right, now we'll move on over into the office set design. So here we are in the office set design, and once again, I want to share that I do have different pieces that I can create a client's office space, and this is just one of the sets. This is our white on white, the bookcase setup, and it can be styled in so many different ways. I do have the bookcases behind me, I mentioned that, and everything in here, I know I've said this before a couple of times, but everything in the studio is a prop. So I will rearrange this for different clients. I'll also have them to bring in, once again, their own props as well. So I've had clients to bring in books and different little trinkets and gadgets and maybe things that would be found in their office. And that's another thing too, when a client is choosing their set and when we're going through their consultation, we will think about, okay, what is naturally in your office? Do you have a white office space? Or maybe it's the natural brown setup space, or maybe it's no bookcase behind you. We'll take that out and we can bring in a console and style that. So I am having them think about, tell me about your brand and what are the things that you would have in your office? How would you be working in it? And then we'll bring in some of those props and things that will make sense for them. So for some clients, I will bring out the Yeti mic because they may have a podcast. I also have this laptop that's here. It's the studio laptop. Doesn't work, but it's used as a prop. So, and then I have clients who are not Mac users and they'll bring in their own laptops for the setup space. But I always encourage them to bring their things in, but as I mentioned, everything in here is the prop. So I have plenty of books and plenty of little boxes and trinkets and plants and all the things to style up the space. But this is the set design for the office. Sometimes it's here, once again, based on the light. In the mornings, I have nice light coming through this window from the east, and I'll use that as a rim light. So if I have a shoot that's happening 10:30 or 11, I may have it set up here. As the light changes, I may switch out and use the corner instead for this setup. And also too, when I'm shooting, I know that my goal is, once I have a set design, is to get creative. So I'm not staying in the same position, right? I'm changing, I'm moving, I'm changing my perspective so that I can get different shots and angles for my clients. Also be talking with them throughout that set that we're using, just so that we can get those natural, authentic expressions. So for the client who has a podcast, I'll have them say a few lines. We'll talk through it. Maybe we are walking through how it would feel for them to be on a Zoom call. So I'll bring in the ring light sometimes, and then I'll be talking to them, and we'll have them looking at the screen and doing all the things that they would be doing on that Zoom call with the client. So all of these things I'm thinking about as we're going through the shoot, because I'm also not just as I was a wedding photographer, many wedding photographers will do this. It was actually shared with me. This is one thing that I kept in my toolkit, was as you're photographing a wedding day, to think about the album that you're going to be designing later. So as a brand photographer, I'm thinking about later. Not only are we doing a lot of prepping before their shoot happens, so I know specifically what their goals are, but also on the day of, I'm thinking ahead, constantly thinking ahead. And I'm saying out loud to them, oh my gosh, okay, this set of images that we could use, we just shot, you could use them if you were talking about this in your marketing, or you can use them on your website, on your About Me page. Like, this would be a great image for that. So I'm also, just as a wedding photographer, you're thinking through shooting for the album, and for my branding clients, I'm thinking through how they can use their images, because that's the goal, right? When they leave the studio, they don't just have these pretty pictures, they have photos that they can take and put into action for their businesses. All right, let's move over into the kitchen set design. So here we are in the kitchen set design. I absolutely love this space. One of the reasons I love it so much is because I have worked with so many different clients who do different things, different businesses. I've worked with a client who has an interior design business. We styled up some fun for them to show some of them gathering, which is one of the core values in their business, is bringing in that gathering element to their clients. So we made a little space. We had a cookie baking day with them. That was a ton of fun. I've also worked with clients in the health and wellness space. So we brought in, one of my clients has a juicing business, so we brought in these fruits and vegetables and styled everything up. She brought a juicer in, she brought juices in, which were delicious, but we styled it all up for her. But there are so many different ways to use this setup, and I love being creative with the client when I know that we're going to use this set for their shoot. Some of the basic things that I have in here, I have glassware, I have wine glasses, we have baskets and bowls and all kinds of little different decor that someone might find in their kitchen. And I also, throughout the studio, in these cabinets, I have even more props that we can use to style this space. And as with all the spaces, I do encourage my clients to bring in things, so like a juicer. My client definitely brought that in, but I do encourage them to bring things in that are related to their brand and that we can use to create the images based on the goals that we have for their shoot. But it's such a fun space. I have thought about, at one time I was thinking about adding cabinets in to bring even more of that kitchen feeling, that vibe in. But so far, the base for the set that I have works really well. I do have some different seating options for clients. So right now I have these natural wood. They're kind of like the farmhouse style, but I do have these here. I have some leather-like style seats too. For the island. I have another set of chairs that I need to put together, but I'm constantly thinking about ways to improve the space and be able to create and provide more for my clients. But I've also used this island, I've used it for a client to have like a standing working space. So that's another way that I've used it as well. So I'm always thinking of ways, as I mentioned, to get creative and to go beyond to what you would think would be for space, to be able to bring other elements in as well, and to also to use different pieces in different sets and to create something totally different. I love being able to do that. I typically shoot in this space as the light is moving further to the other side of the studio. In the mornings, it's pretty harsh over here. I do have a curtain that I'll bring in to block out some of the light to soften it, so we don't have a lot of shadows going on and hard light. But I do tend to use this more towards like the noon time frame, and I definitely, like all year round, I'm paying attention as the light changes. Like right now, at the time of shooting this video, we're heading into the fall season. So I know that the light will be changing in the studio. So I keep that in mind. I keep a little running list of different seasons, and I'm just constantly paying attention to that so that I'm scheduling clients at the right time, especially if I know that they're using this set. But this is the kitchen set design. Now let's move into my office space. All right, so now we'll take a look inside my office. I'll show you a little bit of my day-to-day and what goes on behind the scenes. So welcome inside my office. I absolutely love being in this space. Now I do, because everything is all organized. I know where to find everything. But here in my office is where I handle most of my day-to-day. I take calls outside of the main studio area if I'm on a consultation call with the client, specifically on Zoom. But I'll take those calls out there so I'm in front of the natural light in front of the window, because as you can see in here, I don't have as much natural light flowing. I really rely on the lamps in this space. But here I'll take consultation phone calls with clients, potential clients. I'll also handle my day-to-day marketing, social media task in here as well. I'll also take care of any other administrative things that I have to do as well. So maybe that's following up with the wardrobe consultation, getting everything all planned for the shoot day. That'll all happen in here too. And then my editing definitely happens in here. I love having 2 monitors to work on. I'm sure a lot of you probably do as well, but I love having the 2 monitors to edit on. I typically will start out in the main area after a shoot has happened. I'll get my laptop out. I'll do all of my downloading there on my laptop to a hard drive. And I will then cull everything on Photo Mechanics. So that's the tool that I use. I've been using it for a very long time now, and I love that because it makes the culling process go really quickly. So I'll cull out there, and then I'll come in here after I've put everything on a hard drive, and then I'll upload it here onto my main desktop, so my Mac. I'll upload everything into Lightroom and do a few quick touches, maybe exposure correction, before I'll send a proofing gallery out to my clients. But all of that happens in here. One of my favorite things about this desk is that it's also a standing desk. So I love having the opportunity to stand, to get some movement going a little bit, to not sit in my desk all day long. But yeah, I love working here. This side of the office, and over here is just my printer area, all of my extra everyday tools that I need, highlighters, pens. Oh, let me point out my chapstick. This is from Molly's Apothecary downstairs. Big shout out to Molly's. And just everything else, extra paper, cardstock, all of my cords for recording YouTube videos. It makes my life a lot easier when I can find things. And you know, we have all of the cords and all of the gadgets, so having everything organized is so helpful. So on this side, this wall is just my nice IKEA system here to keep everything organized. And I must share, okay, so everything may look organized today, but before, this room was my catch-all room. So literally, I'd have my photo shoot. I knew which sets my client was going to use. I'd have them all set up, and everything else would be piled in here. It was bad. So everything would be piled on this side, and I would just have a little area to scoot over to my desk so I could let my client hang out with the hair and makeup artist. But I love having everything organized because we can waste so much time looking for things. Anyone out there can relate, but I'm not looking too much anymore. But over here too, I have all of my binders. I have my social media planning binder over here. I have my full focus planner, my daily planner. This is a studio prop, but I just keep that in here too, tucked away. It's another gold planner. I have extra cameras, my nice Yeti mic, binders. So a lot of my favorite books are here. I'm a big Audible listener as well, but I do have some of my favorite copies too that are resources in my everyday business as well. And for this area over here, I love this little space now. Sometimes I will get my lunch and I'll come in here, I'll set up one of my boxes, put my laptop on it and maybe watch some YouTube. But I love having this little space to just kind of relax too, because typically most days I am here all day, but I love having this little area too. And then over here, just a few other binders that I use as well. I'm a big paper girl. I love having things written down, so notebooks serve me very, very well. I hope you enjoyed the studio tour, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.